So judging by the market reaction yesterday, Nvidia right now is just a worthless company who are selling calculators in the era of supercomputers. And pretty much the best thing it can do for its investor right now is just, close the company and stop working. The same can be said about pretty much all of the companies in the tech sector in the US who lost about 1 trillion. I have heard the rumors about $1.1 trillion yesterday. So besides Nvidia, we had Broadcom, AMD, Microsoft, and Qualcomm. And all of this happened because someone in China trained a cheaper AI model. So it all sounds a bit dramatic, isn't it? Well, this is what happens when a solid piece of news hits an already overheated market. Everyone's panic and everyone's just selling everything they have. So in today's video, we're going to talk about three things. First of all, let's try to understand what the hell had actually happened. Yes, we know that some Chinese company did something with AI, did something better, arguably cheaper, and now what? Now all the US tech sector is down and never will recover again? So we will try to understand the details because of course the devil is in the details. Second, let's try to understand if all of the reports which are coming out are a bit, well, let's say suspicious. So we will put our suspicious dog meme and try to understand if it's plausible at all that what people are claiming to happen had actually happened. Third, let's try to understand what to do with our Nvidia position and in general with tech stocks which took a hit yesterday. So we can do one of the three things, right? We can buy on the dip, we can panic sell, and we can do absolutely nothing. So each of these decisions is a decision which you need to take. So let's try to understand everything that happened and take a good educational one. Hello and welcome to the Market Monkeys channel. My name is Vadim and today we're going to talk about this archaic piece of garbage which we just 2 days ago called Nvidia and tech sector in US in general. So now let's try to calm down, take a deep breath and understand what exactly had happened. So a Chinese startup which is called DeepSeek, for which Julia always refers to as Dick Pic, is actually an offshoot of a Chinese hedge fund. So they have announced its R1 AI model, claiming it built a large language model, LLM, for under $6 million. To be precise, 5.50 something. So under $6 million. So they have used Nvidia's downgraded H800 GPUs for training. They have ran it for about 2,700 hours. Tech companies, by the way, like OpenAI and Meta, they are spending billions, not under 6 million, and they are running their models for much longer. So API costs for R1, this is going to be a bit technical, API costs for R1 insanely cheap. So you have about 55 cents for million input tokens and $2.19 for million output tokens. If you compare this to what OpenAI has with ChatGPT and everything, you will get $15 for input tokens and $60 for output tokens. So DeepSeek says their model is better than what OpenAI and Meta has in complex reasoning, and naturally it raised a lot of eyebrows about this whole investment in the AI and in the tech sector in the recent couple of years. If you find this information valuable or interesting, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and you can become a member of the Market Monkeys channel. So basically it all boils down to two fundamental questions. First, people are looking at all the hyperscalers and at Nvidia, who provided all the famous GPUs for these hyperscalers to train their models. And they're saying, so just to understand, a Chinese startup, which is actually not really a tech startup, but some offshoot from a hedge fund, have trained model for under $6 million. It cost 30 times less to run it. So what the hell are you hyperscaler and Nvidia guys have been doing all this time? By the way, this picture is generated by ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI. By the way, do you remember all the US sanctions on China about the export of AI-related tech? What happened is actually US tried to be dominant force in the UI sector. They forbade companies like Nvidia, for example, to export their best chips to China, stuff like Blackwells and H100s. So Nvidia actually had to invent something called H20, which is downgraded version of its Nvidia chips, and H800s, which DeepSeek arguably used, are also a downgraded version of Nvidia chips. So all this stuff hasn't really worked out that well, right? If some Chinese companies claiming they are using inferior tech and getting superior results. But just before we go and dump all our worthless Nvidia shares and go and buy some Huawei, because this is where real tech is apparently, isn't all of this sound a bit suspicious to you? I mean, we have smart guys in companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and Meta and all the Sam Altman's dudes who are releasing all the time, they're inventing all the time. And you want to tell me that a bunch of these very smart guys with almost unlimited resources missed something so fundamental which can be done with inferior tech and get 30 times better results? So let's put our conspiracy hat for a second, put on our suspicious dog meme, and try to take a look at things which are not really clear or a bit suspicious about this whole story. So first of all, the last time I have checked, the research paper from DeepSeek was not peer-reviewed at all. Or for now, I don't know if they are planning to do that at all. So they are claiming something which for now hasn't been peer-reviewed and hasn't been approved. Second of all, there were these rumors or discussions, or however you want to call them, and they were initiated by the CEO of Scale AI by the name of Alexander Wang, and they are suggesting that China's DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100 Nvidia chips. Now, this kind of makes sense. So they are taking the best chips Nvidia had for about half a year ago, and 50,000 is a lot. It's a lot, and they can train a very, very good models with this kind of tech. Elon Musk, by the way, came on Twitter and agreed with Alexander Wang, and I'm not sure with everything that is going on with Elon Musk lately if that's a good thing or not. Also, this whole fact that as soon as DeepSeek app hit #1 on App Store, the company immediately limited new registrations to the phones from mainland China, because apparently that's what you do. Like, as soon as your app becomes #1 in App Store, you just limit dramatically the amount of new potential users. That just sounds weird. And on top of all that, let's not forget we had some weird history with Chinese companies. So if you have watched a documentary which is called China Hustle, by the way, if you haven't, it's fascinating, go and watch it. And this documentary is about investigators who are investigating these Chinese companies which are sold on US stock exchanges and which are getting very, very good valuation, and they are uncovering ridiculous stuff, like stupid stuff. Just to bring you one example, so there was a company which was called China Medical Express, CME. So they have claimed they operating a massive network of television screens on buses in China, and they're generating millions in advertising revenues. So when investigators and short sellers actually went to China to take a look, they found out that there is no such a thing as television screens on the buses, and half of the buses which the company claimed it operates didn't even exist. And this company was selling for billions of dollars in US market because, well, that's how market operates. The company releases its statement, we kind of believe that this is what is going on. Like, I'm pretty sure that if you're holding more than like 50, 60 companies, or if you're holding some ETF which follows like 500 companies, you don't know what half of these companies are really doing. Now, of course, I'm not accusing DeepSeek of fraud or lying. I'm not accusing Chinese people, God forbid, of fraud or lying. Like, Chinese people are great. They're not Russians after all. What I'm saying is that we have a history of fraud with Chinese companies recently, and let's take all of this situation with a grain of salt. But I also want to take a look at the possibility that, well, all of this is true. All the data is accurate. All of this is true. Chinese companies with inferior tech, they have managed to produce something amazing, which all of the US tech sector could not produce. And I think this is amazing news for like tech sector, AI, the humanity in general, if you will, because first of all, it means that with the tech we have right now, we can do so much more. For Nvidia specifically, it doesn't mean that Nvidia starts to become this worthless company and no one will buy its tech. I think with the existing tech, which was bought already from Nvidia by Microsoft, by Amazon, by Meta, for example, right now we can do so much more. And I don't think the demand for Nvidia GPUs and Nvidia product will subside. Because if you remember, we've talked about it a lot on our channel, on videos about Nvidia, that the demand for GPUs is not an issue. A demand is insane. And the fact that you can do more with existing tech will not affect the demand at all. We will just do much more with what we have. So I don't think Nvidia is going to be at all affected by that. I think the stock of Nvidia will rebound pretty quickly. As for my position on Nvidia, so I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I didn't even thought about selling anything. The only reason I'm not buying more of Nvidia is because Nvidia is a huge portion of my portfolio. I kind of already don't feel really safe or well diversified because of how much Nvidia I'm holding right now. Julia, for example, bought more Nvidia shares yesterday because we analyzed everything what is going on, and we decided that like the risk is totally worth the reward. By the way, one of the reasons which was raised yesterday when Julia bought her Nvidia shares was look at the dynamics of everything that happened yesterday when the market fell. So all of the tech sector, let's take Nvidia for example as kind of the benchmark for US tech sector. So Nvidia dropped yesterday something like 15%, something like that. The main tech company of China, which is Alibaba, did not rise 15% yesterday. It rose maybe half of the percent, something insignificant like that. So we had US tech sector, which is a full panic sell mode. And on the other side, the Chinese tech sector is not really reacting with euphoria about everything that is going on. Why is that? So I will just leave you with this question. Please write comments about what you think had happened. So if all of the reports are true and we are on the verge of huge technological progress, for which I'm, to be honest, is really excited, write to me in the comments what are you planning to do with your Nvidia stock. Have you sold? Are you buying more on the dip, or are you, like me, just doing absolutely nothing? Thank you very much for your time. Please like this video, leave us a comment and subscribe to this channel, and we will see you in the next videos. Take care.